Hi guys, we are back again, and this is Dr. Divya Pradhan. We are going to talk today about Mendel's dihybrid cross. Let's look at the word di. Di means two. So here we are going to study two traits. Because two traits are being studied, that's why Mendel called his cross dihybrid cross. Of course, this is an image of Gregor Mendel, one of the most famous biologists who made the huge significant contribution to the field of biology, and basically he was the first one who worked or recorded controlled inheritance. So he worked on the pea plant, and of course working with the pea plant, this was a very, very wise decision, because first and foremost, pea plants have very distinct traits, characteristics that can be studied, and second of all, they are very easy to grow. He could also remember he was crossing, doing cross pollinations using a brush, transferring the pollen from one to the other. So this was why it was called controlled experimentation. And it's an annual plant, so every year it produces these seeds which he could grow again, and he could observe the traits. So just a quick reminder that the phenotype is a physical characteristic. A genotype is the genetic makeup. Okay? Genetic makeup. All right. So let's look at his Mendel's dihybrid cross. What did he use? He used two different pea plants. One had yellow, so it was yellow, the seed was yellow and round. And the other one, the seed was green and wrinkled. So when he crossed these two true breeding plants, breeding plants, remember when we say true breeding plants, meaning to say no matter how many times you will self-pollinate these plants, you'll always get pea plants with yellow and round seeds. No matter how many times you self-pollinate these plants, you'll always get pea plants with green and wrinkled seeds. Now, using controlled hybridization, that means, it's a fancy word, he took a paintbrush, transferred the pollen from from the male part of the flower to the female part of this plant, and then same, vice versa, and as a result, he collected seeds, and when he grew the seeds, in the F1 generation, F1 is the first filial generation, F1 generation, all the seeds were yellow and round. Okay. Then he cross-pollinated all the F1 generation plants. So his F2 generation, that is the second filial generation, he saw that there was a very interesting combination, that there was green and yellow, green and wrinkled right here, like grandparent, yellow and round like grandparent, but he had very nice interesting combinations. So he had 9 yellow and round, 1 green and wrinkled, but he had 3 yellow and wrinkled. So there were 3 of them that were yellow and wrinkled, as you can see, yellow and wrinkled, yellow and wrinkled, and yellow and wrinkled. This is a new combination which is not like the grandparent. And also then he saw green and round, which were 3 of them. So I'm just going to say here, this one, green and round, green and round, and green and round. So this was 3 of them, green and round, which was not like the parent combination. So basically he saw 9:3. 9:3. Excuse me. 9:3:3:1. All right, so this was the combination that he saw. All right, so let's look at the genotype. So if you remember our previous presentation, in which we said, okay, here is the P generation or the parental generation, round and yellow and green and wrinkled. So he said, okay, I'm going to donate uppercase R, remember factors, he knew them as factors, we know them as genes. So he said, okay, these factors have to appear in pairs. So R, R, Y, Y. The round and wrinkled, because it did not show up in F1 generation, obviously this must be a recessive trait. So this must be recessive. So because it's not showing up in the F1 generation. So lowercase r, lowercase y for the genotype of the parent generation. So if you remember his law of segregation, what did it say? That when you come to forming gametes in the F1 generation, this may have produced only one type of gamete, RY. This is the gamete. Okay. What about this one? This will produce only one type of gamete, lowercase r and small y. This is the gamete, as per the law of segregation. So when you combine these two in the F1 generation, you get uppercase R, lowercase r, uppercase y, lowercase y. However, the lowercase r will never be able to express itself because it is recessive. So what did F1 generation look like? All round. All of them were round and smooth, just like the parent. All right. Now that doesn't mean that you lost the gene for green and wrinkled. It's there, but it'll never be able to express itself as long as the dominant trait, uppercase R and uppercase Y, is there. All right, so now what happened in the F2 generation? So remember what Mendel did. He crossed all the babies, all the F1 generation amongst themselves. So here is the Punnett square. This will form what type of gametes? Let's see. It will form capital R, capital Y, as per a law of independent assortment. Uppercase R, lowercase y, lowercase r, uppercase y, and lowercase r, lowercase y. Okay? So here are the male, here are the female gametes, and when you cross and do the Punnett square, remember, R, uppercase R, uppercase y, uppercase y. Uppercase R, uppercase y, lowercase y. In this case, uppercase, you bring this and this together, so you will have uppercase R, uppercase y. And this together, you'll see uppercase R, uppercase y, lowercase y. So this definitely will be round and yellow, right? I'm just going to write, in fact, I'm just going to write R and Y. This is also going to be uppercase. This will be round and yellow. This will also be round and yellow. This will also be round and yellow. Why? Because even though the lowercase r is there, or even though the lowercase y is there, they are recessive traits. He called them factors. We know them as genes. As long as the dominant factor or gene is there, the recessive gene will never be able to express itself. So the phenotype of this parent will be round and yellow, round and yellow, round and yellow, round and yellow. This too round and yellow, this too round and yellow, this too round and yellow, this too round and yellow. So how many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are missing one, round and yellow, 9. So 9 of them were round and yellow. Now let's see how many were green and wrinkled like grandparent. Only one was green and wrinkled. Lowercase r, lowercase y, lowercase y. Now let's see the new combinations. The new combinations were round, round and yellow, round and green. So round and green, this was round and green. RG, this is round and green, RG, this is round and green. This is a new combination, 3 of them, which was unlike the grandparents. So this is totally new combination. And now let's see wrinkled and yellow. So this is wrinkled and yellow, wrinkled and yellow, wrinkled and yellow, 3 of them. Unlike the grandparent combination, new combinations are possible. So based on this, Mendel came across his 4th law. What was his 4th law? His 4th law was the law of independent assortment. He said that each factors separate independently. Remember our grandparent? What was our grandparent? Our grandparent, if you remember correctly, was round. I'm going to write it out here, see out here. Round and yellow. And our grandparent was wrinkled and green. So round and yellow and wrinkled and green, we saw this was the grandparent. In the F2 generation, we saw new combinations. We saw round and green, wrinkled and yellow. This was 2 new combinations, meaning to say that these 2 factors, these 2 genes are independent of each other, and they will form new combinations. So an analogy would be, just because today you wear a blue shirt with jeans, you can wear a yellow shirt with jeans the other day. They are not linked. They are independent of each other, right? So because of this, new combinations of factors occur or are possible. This is the law of probability. You'll come across, especially when doing labs. So here is the 9 out of 16 were dominant for both traits. 3 out of 16 was dominant for one, recessive for one. 3 out of 16 recessive for one, dominant for one, and 1 out of 16 were recessive for both. This would be called a homozygous recessive. Okay. So yeah, with this we come to the end of our presentation. I hope this was helpful. If there are any questions or concerns, please stop by my office. And once again, I thank you for your time.